Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to AOEsports. Tonight, very quick introduction, but we're going to be casting a fantastic game between Bronze Esports and BAM Finger Guns. Joining me tonight is GL Phoenix. How you going, Phoenix?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Sandshark. I'm looking forward to this series. We've heard some good things about them, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring to the table.
Should be very interesting. And one thing to note for those who are unaware, the rules are generally the same, and nothing has been changed in regards to 2-2-2 lock so far. So please keep an eye out on the Discord for changes for that. So we'll still probably see a variety of compositions here. Another thing to also note is that the rule regarding tiebreakers has been changed. Instead of going straight to a control map to decide a tiebreaker, that is now considered a 0-0, and maps are played until a person, I think until the next team wins. So,
yeah.
But in that case, that shouldn't really happen, but I digress. First map, we are going to Ilios, very beautiful Ilios in Greece. And this part of the map actually opens up a lot of environmental kill opportunities here.
Yeah, absolutely. There is the opportunity to bring out that Farah, which does tend to pop in a little bit more now, and a lot of, as you mentioned, it's got a lot of open areas, and the environmental kills really allows the Farah to have a little bit more power against some of the more beefy lineups that some of the more traditional compositions tend to run.
So, for those who are wondering, BAM Finger Guns on the left, and Bronze Esports on the right in the red. As we count down, 5 seconds remaining. Both teams seem to be going out both somber goat variations, although Bronze Esports has the Ana. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, just the slightest variation, just the, as you mentioned, just the Ana in exchange for the Zenyatta. We'll have to see how that comes to effect as we get into these first fights.
Okay, here we go. Seem to have dominated the top here in the room, getting a little bit of muscle on the high ground. Zarya is firing, J-Hall is firing from the ground, trying to get some damage, but they're just diving down straight away. Looks like they're trying to overwhelm the tanks. Very even fight at this point. Both Zaryas are gaining some energy, but the first fatalities come in the disadvantage of BAM Finger Guns. Still a fairly even fight at this point, but it looks like BAM Finger Guns are going to reset.
Yeah, just a little bit of split attentions there from BAM Finger Guns. The Sombra of Ascent managed to get onto that back line, taking care of Turtle on that Zenyatta. So once that healing is out of the way, the rest of the team, it's really missing out on not only the healing, but also the damage amplification from that Discord orb.
It also depends on what healing you have as well. Sometimes you can go without a healer in some situations. But as I say that, we have more brawling here in this middle corridor. Fatalities, both Sombras are taken out. So, and here comes the hammer down, finds no one. Arsene had a great shield up and takes down Raven. Raven is down as a Discord on him. Is really weak, doesn't manage to get taken down. He's got stunned. Actually recovers for the nano boost. Does a lot of swings. Oh, look at that. The boot takes down the boosted Raven. So a very good recontest right there. I think it may have just saved their bacon. So
yeah. It looked like it was a good start, or it looked like it was actually a bit of a rough start to the fight with, I think it was Volbus managing to throw the, actually it was Raven that threw a hammer right into the shield of Volbus, and then return swing was just as good. And then they were able to just grind their way, just managing to just pick apart those few members and then just snowball those advantages. And that's essentially how these compositions work. It's about trying to eke out those little advantages and then just rolling through with that power.
And that's what I was talking about before regarding the environmental boost. That one over there, Raven was nano boosted. The single brute took him out of the contest. As I say that, here comes a lot of ultimates, including nano boost. Fantastic grenade on the graviton surge, but the shield manages to negate from the Zarya both those effects. They've actually drawn them out. They only had one death there, but they drew him out kind of back to the area near Bronze Esports spawn. As a result, they're just able to walk on, saying this is my territory now. Another push again for BAM Finger Guns.
Yeah, it looked like they weren't able to get too much out of the fight, but because of how much BAM Finger Guns were forced back, how much damage they had taken, how much they had to really retreat and essentially regain their footing, the Red Squad were just able to walk onto the point and then just assert their dominance. But a good thing for BAM Finger Guns is that they have a lot of ultimates to work with coming into this next fight.
Yes, they have this the Sombra. There it goes, as I was mentioning. Absolutely huge, but immediately countered by Tazuyu's Ceraton Surge. And things are happening faster than I can talk at the moment. A lot's been going on. A fantastic group there to take Raven out of the fight again. And I think this is looking in the way of BAM Finger Guns. again, they used a lot of ultimates, and even though the sound barrier was used by Zuyu, it was just the raw damage and the immediate moment where everyone was hacked. They wanted to rip in and be like, you are my prey, I'm gonna rip you to shreds and take advantage of the wounded. So, looks like they do that. Grab the point. 99% now for Bronze Esports.
Yeah, and all it's going to take is one really good fight here for Bronze Esports, and they have the ultimates to come back with it. Raven, although it was unfortunate that he got booped off with his ultimate, with that Earth Shatter still on deck, it does mean that they can come into this next fight having that in the bag. It is going to be Earth Shatters on both sides, but a little bit more extra engagement tools here for Bronze Esports, especially that EMP coming out of Ascent. Oh, it was blocked.
Here comes the first. It was blocked. The Earth Shatter was blocked from Raven. Not Raven, sorry. The other one. Oh, 4 people have been stunned by that. They're able to just feast on that. Bronze Esports. Nifty comes out with a sound barrier in a vain attempt to try and regain the point. There is just too much strength, though. Somber's right onto Apollo FDS, and it's funny, as Nifty is trying to be jumping in and out, he is going to be found out sooner or later. Percentage is just going higher and higher. AGL is the next one to fall. Nifty's trying his absolute darndest. Managed to retake the point. Still trying his best. Jumping around. He's still alive somehow. But he is then solo grabbed and taken down by Father Time. At that point, that's the only real way you can use a grab. No one else coming to point. Lucio's the one who's annoying you. You don't want to risk accidentally missing him and letting the other members come to point. Very good use of the solo grab. First point goes in favor of Bronze Esports.
Yeah, and just going back to how that fight started, it started with Vorbis trying to throw out just the blind shatter, but it went straight into the shield of Raven, and then the EMP engagement in return was just way too powerful. And once the fight was just completely won in that moment for the side of Bronze Esports, it was just struggle street. We saw how much Bang Finger Guns were trying to just scramble onto the point, try and just stall out for as long as possible, but they just didn't have the time to really make a considerable push, and they end up losing the fight.
We have a few team composition changes here, so they've gone a little bit more DPS oriented. They have the Hanzo and the Farm Mercy, so depending on the other team's composition, which seems relatively the same with the exception of the use of the Ana instead of the Lucio. Shield is placed by Vorbis, and we have a halt here. Oh, tries to hook Arsene, doesn't unfortunately quite get it. Both are just kind of staying in their territories. Orisa's shield's up on both sides. Farah on the other side is trying to boot them out of position and try and get a few very valuable hits. This isn't be working thus far. A lot of environmental. Ooh, what a hook! That was a fantastic hook there from AGL. So
yeah,
that's the first Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that's one of those things that's really good about this composition is the follow-up that you can have between the Orisa and the Roadhog. You use the suction from the Orisa and then hook straight onto that. And we saw just how quickly Father Time went down. And that has given Bang Finger Guns all of the control here on the point.
Yes, indeed. And especially with the threat of Allegory and Turtle up as a Farm Mercy, there really isn't much room for error. You cannot be concentrating on the main line up on the ground and completely forget about the people up high. So that require a little bit more rethinking. Our team may be able to hit a few more arrows in the next push, but we shall see what goes on. They first creep on. The Halt is coming up again. It seems to be doing a good job kind of stalling everyone. Not exactly with the environmental kills. As I say that, Dragon Strikes come out from both sides, and Vorbis is rezzed after a quick fatality from J-Hall. Surprisingly, Nifty's actually trying to go after J-Hall. I don't know what he's trying to achieve there. But manages to get Raven in the meantime. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he actually went around the lighthouse. And while he was in the top half rear of the lighthouse, as a hook here as well, Father Time is hooked back into the well. So
he's having a rough time this round.
Yes. So Nifty with the fantastic. I thought he was just trying to get up in the face of the fire, but what he was actually going for was a boop into the well. And that took down Raven. Next fatality came with Father Time with the environmental hook. So, and looks like we do have a pause coming out. But the use of the environmental kills, especially on well, if you use it well, you can really assert your dominance and really show strength that can be almost unmatched if you're really good at it against the enemy team. So 55-0 at this point in favor of Bam Finger Guns. So we do have a pause. In terms of the first 50% of this, well, what do you make of that, Phoenix?
It's looking really good for Bang Finger Guns. The change in composition, the change of scenery has definitely worked out for them. And just the combination of Vorbis and AGL with the Orisa and the Roadhog, really, I'm really liking that synergy. And it's allowing the rest of the DPS members of their team to just have a lot of freedom. We're seeing the amount of damage that Allegory is throwing out. Apollo is getting some good damage in as well. And the front line, inversely on the front line of Bronze Esports, they're not having the best of times. Father Time, we've seen him. He's been thrown left, right, and center. He's been dunked in the well a couple of times. It's rough to be a Roadhog a lot of the time. And we're just looking at the ultimates. There's some big ones in store for the side of Bang Fingergun, so they can hold on for a considerable amount of time.
You should also notice, though, that both the tanks, Raven and Father Time for Bronze Esports, also have their ultimates coming up very soon as well. So it could be an all-out fight at this point. It is all a chance of whose ults land first and who's ready for what. Because honestly, especially with ultimate games, it's a big game of hindsight and prediction. So you need to figure out what ults the enemy team would have and then play to counter that. And when there's a lot of ults being used successfully, it can be very difficult to kind of manage ult fallout. So it'll be very interesting to see how both teams react, especially on Well over here. And one thing I will also notice that Lucio, sorry, I should correct, there's more crowd control on the side of Bram Fingerguns there's Bronze Esports and having the Lucio. On Well, as we've seen, the boots can be invaluable. And it looks like Bronze Esports don't have as much, so they only have actually have 4. They have Halts with the Orisa and the Hook Roadhog, then Farah's Concussive Grenade and Nifty's Boot. So I think maybe the extra might be a little bit, but if you use it well, it can almost act like a 7-player, to be honest.
Yeah, and the only difference is just the boop in exchange for the sleep dart and also the Bionades. I think Dr. Hume is also just very comfortable on that hero. We saw how well he was playing on that Ana in the previous round. The Bionades were incredibly on point, and going up against the Roadhog, that is something that can be incredibly powerful, shutting out a lot of his regeneration, which is one of the things that Roadhog is really good at, just face tanking and just being a HP sponge.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how that's contested. First Dragon Strike is fired out from Apollo. Manages to fire near the middle, but too much healing. Ooh! J-Hole gets one pick, but AGL is right on it. Manages to gift the kill onto J-Hole and Apollo's rest.
Allegory managing to get the mine onto, or the concussion grenade onto Raven, knocking him into the well, and that fight is pretty much done at this point.
Oh, the res! With res, and was about to go down the well as well, but was halted by Vorbis and then taken down by Allegory, and Mercy just went flying. So they were very on the point there in terms of what they're predicting what was going to happen. The Farah on Bronze Esports only got 1 kill and only started to say justice when they were hooked by AGL and taken out, and they were rezzed anyway, the person that they killed. So very good on the ball reading of ultimates there. We are now down to the final point of Ilios. What do you make of this?
Yeah, we're into the ruins, which is that's one thing that's interesting about Ilios, is that you can run 3 very different styles from map to map to map, and this is one of those things where we are going to see similar Sombra Goats compositions, and even actually Turtle's going to switch over to the Ana. We saw him on the Zenyatta in the first round, understanding it's probably not going to be the tool that is going to work out best for them, especially with the Sombras coming in.
Well, one thing I'll notice about the Ana is that she's got a very big line of sight across the point, especially if she kind of camps out the back. She's got a very long range to heal everyone. Anyway, first bit comes out, but luckily Arsene has the geolocator to get back to the point. As I say that though, Allegory gets the first pick to Raven and seems to be just pushing them back. I think with the loss of a Reinhardt, you've lost your main protection shield, you've lost your main thing of HP eating, so they're just slowly pushing back down to spawn, waiting for the respawn. Goes back in favor of Bam Fingerguns.
Yeah, really nicely done there. They saw the opportunity and then just dived straight onto Raven, making sure that they were able to lock him out, lock them down, and then make sure that they get that first fight win and maintain control of the point. And now it's actually a very early nano.
Very early nano, but that's for protection because he just got hacked. So Vorbis just got hacked, so they're using that to kind of protect him and push everyone away. Slightly strategic play there. May have been a little bit of a waste, but they're still winning at this point. Very, very smart move from Nano Boost. Oh, the double nano and 3 stunned. And that Ryan Vorbis was also slept as well, so he's having a real bad nightmare right now. Again, we're saying all this, and Bronze Esports just can't seem to get the position advantage at the moment. They're being really bullied here by Bronze Esports.
Yeah, now we have to see there is a position here for Ascent and a great engagement.
Grab! Oh, boy. Sorry to interrupt you. Oh no, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Everything's going crazy right now. Both teams used their grabs at this exact same time, but luckily Nifty was able to use his nano boost, keep everyone alive. But while I've been saying that, looks like Bronze Esports been able to get their way back onto the point. Kills are falling in their favor, so it looks like there'll be a reset now for Finger Guns. I'm sorry for interrupting you there before, man.
All good. It's just the way things go was when a lot of these ultimates just get thrown out the way they have been. It was just, we get 2 fights back to back. It was mirrored Earth Shatters and then mirrored Gravitons. It's just the way these teams are playing. It's just a very even back and forth that we're seeing right now. And sure, it's 72% here for the side of Finger Guns. And a good fight could put him in a good position to essentially just shut out this map.
Well, they put up the rally to give everyone a little bit of an armor boost. And here comes the EMP. The EMP actually doesn't affect the armor still. And we got a few big people who are native as well. Fatality still coming on either side. Fighting going in both corners of the point. Briggs kind of on her own trying to get some kills, but is promptly hacked and taken out of the fight. Polo also being targeted. And it looks like there must have been a missed target because Nifty is going around with a nano boost of Lucio. Not really being able to do much besides walk out with a fancy blue glow. So good on you. You look real cool there, Nifty. It was a halfway even fight, but looks like Bronze Esports muscled that one.
Yeah, it all started, like, the start of that fight was Allegory using the rally up. And it's like, that is usually a good way to start a fight. And yeah, as you mentioned, the EMP not necessarily straying through a lot of the armor, but because of everyone stacking up to get all of that armor, everyone was pretty much hit by the EMP, and at that point, you just win the fight more often than not. And that's essentially how Bronze played that one out, just shutting them down once all those abilities were locked out. And now they've essentially evened out the score, and they're in a pretty good position now to end up winning this map.
The Shatter comes down, both teams takes down Joe Hall, but they take down more. That was a very good sound barrier there from Nifty to keep everyone alive after. And here comes the first of the hacks. They have no EMP, takes 5 members. So our scene was barely away from the 100% for the EMP, but close ain't good enough. Almost as everyone else, Arcene's getting very close. They really need to take out Arcene ASAP, but he might be hiding around. Looks like they'll be able to grab the last point. So I think what Arcene was trying to do there is just wait until they have the point. When they're all bunched together, then use the EMP. Either way, fantastic defensive use of the sound barrier and use of the EMP in terms of finger guns. We're going now to the last 15%. Both teams very close of taking down the first map.
And if Nifty didn't get that sound barrier down, that was going to be pretty much lights out for them. So it does give them a bit of a sniff. And here comes the Graviton engagement.
Here comes the grab. Here comes a bunch of ultimate dates. Oh, wow.
Bionade is such a good ability, by the way.
If you use it right, and you know how to use it.
Wow.
AGL is the last one remaining. That just came out of absolutely nowhere. Team kill and very close fight there. But the first map will go in favor of Bronze Esports. And this is what we'd like to see on AOEsports. You like to see a lot of close contests, a lot of creative compositions from both teams. And both teams did play very well on the first map. In the end, Bronze Esports will slightly out-muscle Bam Finger Guns. And I think this is the last play.
Yeah, that's... As you mentioned, both of these teams are just fighting tooth and nail, and it's just... The slightest decisions are making a big difference, and those Bionades just targeted so well and managed to find a good timing to bring it in as the shields were going down, so managed to get pretty much maximum value out of that. And it looked like Bam Finger Guns were in a pretty good position to hold on, but it just got completely shut out there by Bronze Esports. So they're going to manage to take the first map, and yeah, I'm very excited to see how they play out the rest of this series, because if that first map is anything to go by, I think we're aiming for a good one.
And one thing I also noticed that, again, it was a double graph, but the Bionade was the real, it was a real kick in the teeth for Bam Finger Guns. It could have gone either way, but again, the smallest things result in the map wins and losses, especially with teams that are very close. Anyways, to say that though, so it is 1-0 in favor of Bronze Esports. Next, we're going to a beautiful Rialto in Italy. So we'll see how that one goes. And looks like attacking team will be Bronze Esports.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this one plays out. It's yeah, Yeah, it's I do quite like Rialto, not just for the fact that it's absolutely beautiful to look at. It's also a bit of it's got very distinct styles from point to point, and it's as with quite a few of the escort maps. If you manage to get a good start and manage to maintain momentum, you can make a very good push into the third point. But if it's very possible to get held at first point, it's very possible to get um, it's even easier to get held at third point. So a lot of the times it is either you get if you get past first point, you're probably going to make it a decent chunk through the third point. So we'll have to see how both these teams play it out.
Yeah, that's all again waiting in the scene. There's a few environmental kill opportunities here, so we'll see if Nipsey can jump on those as the fantastic Lucio that he is. It's both teams' heroes assemble. And again, I can't really say much in terms of predicting how this match will go, because the first one in Ilios was incredibly close. It is all a game of just waiting to see what happens. The one thing with Rialto and most payload maps is that there is a huge potential for snowballing here. And especially when you get to the later ones. Well, actually, I should probably say the first and second points are the easiest to snowball. When you get to the third, there's more corners to hide around and more positional advantage for the defending team.
It's very easy to bunker down in that third point for the defending side. So if you manage to get a full push here on Rialto, you're cheering essentially. You set yourself up for success, but it's always a rough house trying to push into that final point. But as you mentioned, first point, it can be held, but more often than not, you will see teams make their way through it. But second point, it can be a real rough one to try and hold.
Definitely. Anyway, in terms of team compositions, we have Bam Finger Guns going standard goats, and we have Bronze Esports going somber goats, it looks like, with both groups using the Ana. So, again, we're still kind of following that goats compositions while we can before 2-2 roll-up is enforced. Seem to kind of actually crawl their way into a little house over on the left over here. Oh, first casualty comes in terms of a hack. Oh, that was a big spinner in the works. And Brigida, oh, sorry, not Brigida, the Ana now is hacked. Kind of try to sneak their way up the top and get a few kills. That was huge nade! Oh, Raven. Oh, but Raven can't get taken out. Raven's almost dead. That's what I'm talking about there. So, Turtle was hacked, and they must have just forgotten about how long he was hacked for. Because as soon as Turtle was unhacked, he came with a beautiful nade. Pushes everyone in Bronze Esports back to spawn.
Yeah, it looked like they were using Ascent essentially just to scout and see where the defense was set up, and then they just ran into, as you mentioned, the goats. It's really rough if you don't run the same style. And essentially the reason you run the Sombra is to get those good hacks off, and they weren't able to really make the most of it because they were still pushing the cart while that hack was going down. And again, with Ascent going down, that is a massive chunk of their composition just removed from the fight, and they have to be very careful about how much they try and commit there.
Yeah, well, our team was trying to go for the sneaky hack onto Apollo FPS, but they knew what they were doing. Here comes a hammer down on both sides. Gorb is, oh man, a lot of sleeping going around here. Two people taking him down with the Graviton Surge, another Graviton Surge. The shield's up though from the bubbles up from Zarya. This is just going crazy. It's very hard to keep track, especially when these fights keep going on. What happened there was the Grav was thrown out, only managed to take down one, Apollo threw out the other Grav, and they were just able to throw out the things needed to take over the fight. So again, it was a bit hard to keep track of what's going on. How did you see that fight playing out there, Phoenix?
There was a lot of investment of ultimates from the side of Bam Finger Guns. They used the Graviton, they used the mech explosion, they even used an Earth Shatter, and even the rally up. Like, a lot was used. Yes, Vorbis has almost got another slam yet again, and Arsene getting picked up on the backside yet again. AGL really being a nuisance.
RC is not really having much luck with the hacks, but as I say, that Vorbis has been nano boosted and is slowly creeping his way back to Bronze Esports spawn. Manages to get one and scare the rest back to their spawn room, where they will regroup. There's quite a few ultimates coming up for Bronze Esports as well. So this point, they are. Go ahead.
Most importantly, it is going to be that EMP that they'll want to use, but Arsene getting caught out again. Gets stunned up and has to translocate back to spawn. So they are very aware of what Arsene is trying to do with this EMP engagement, because if it is actually able to land, then Ben Finnegan's is going to have a good fight.
Look at that, the 5-person EMP, but as I say that, Nifty's right on the ball with the sound barrier, but with how many people were stunned from the Earth Shatter and hacked there from the EMP, it looked like it was mostly in vain. People from Bronze Esports were just able to jump right on the sleeping and stunned enemies and push the payload forward. We might see a regroup here and push before they can get to the last point, but I think the most sensible decision here will just be to wait.
Ooh, looks like they want to make an engagement before the first point, though.
Oh, but as I said, they might want to wait because here comes the Graviton Surge. But good nade, though. Oh, as I say that, both supports are spotted and taken out by the Fire Strike. They do manage to take some valuable time off the clock and bait out the Graviton Surge from J-Hall, though, so there are a few advantages in that. They will capture point 1, Bronze Esports, at the time of 2 minutes and 41 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, and now we have, looking at the ultimate economy here, it's looking pretty good for the side of Bam Fingerguns, but we do see the EMP yet again. It has been the corner piece of this composition. Having that Sombra, getting those good hacks, and we saw just how impactful that previous one was. It started off the fight, and yes, Nifty did get a good sound barrier to try and keep people as healthy as possible throughout it, but it wasn't enough. The hack just allowed a lot of follow-up, and Bam Fingerguns just couldn't do anything about it at that stage.
Apollo's going off on their own to try and get a little bit of position for the Graviton Surge. Fantastic. Kind of went around and scouted a little bit, but they were too busy looking at the heroes up on the balcony over there.
Oh, Raven gets booped into the river. He did get saved by a gondola, but it wasn't enough, and AGL just booped him right back in, and they didn't have to use all that much for that. It was just really the Graviton Surge, and then just they didn't really have to do too much to finish off that fight.
One thing I thought was really clever is that Apollo kind of stuck around to see where all the enemies were. The rest of the team was sneaking up at this little balcony over here to try and get a little bit of distraction. They didn't notice Apollo, and Apollo had prime position to launch the Graviton Surge. And as a result, they're able to get the essential kills. They're going straight back at the point. Here comes a bomb. Unfortunately, I thought that wouldn't be any good. I thought it just landed down there, but takes down 2. Great job from AGL. It must be just an immediate reset here from Bronze Esports.
Yeah, that's just question marks across the board. I mean, didn't expect that one. I was with you with that one. I didn't think it was going to get any value. I mean, it looked like shields were up and it looks like everyone was safely behind cover, but no, it took down 2, and then, as you mentioned, it's just the easiest call for a reset at that stage, and to do that with just a single ultimate, Bam Fingerguns are going to be incredibly happy with how that one played out.
Bronze Esports are going through its top of the building over here. Through a nade that got a bit of HP down from Bam Fingerguns, but here comes the EMP, gets all 5. Well, and then the other one is slept, so fantastic use of ultimates there. Nifty, though, does come out with the sound barrier to give everyone a little bit more shield. A lot of ultimates coming out here. We have Raven, who's been absolutely naded. Apollo FTS has been naded as well, and is slowly trying to get a little bit of kills. Another hammer comes out from Vorbis rather. And the fight's very even at this point. A few kills here and there, a lot of ultimates invested. The rally's coming out from Allegory to try and keep everyone all armored up. Big nade from Suyu. Turtle is taken out with the Shatter, but is able to wake up uncontested. AGL throws out a bomb, takes down J-Hall. So it's still a very even fight at this point.
Yeah, but it looks like they're able to force them back, and they're just bleeding members now at this point. It looks like they are going to manage to hold them before the second point.
That was actually crazy. A lot of ultimates are coming out there. Again, the micromanagement of ultimate and focusing people who are affected by stuns is really what's being the be-all and end-all of the outcomes of these fights. One thing I'll notice is that Turtle, Diana for I think Bam Fingerguns, was actually taken out by, or I should say stunned by the Earth Shatter. And no one was there. There was actually a lot of enemies around. No one was there from the kill. And as you do, Turtle woke up and was able to apply some essential needed healing. I think was able to apply a nano boost after the fact as well. So
yeah, even managed to get the nano boost onto, I believe it was the Zarya who was getting charged by the Reinhardt. So managed to keep them alive, and that was incredibly important. And it looked like that fight was going to go pretty well for Bronze Esports. They started out quite nicely with that massive 5-man EMP, but because of their positioning up high in that structure, yeah, they were able to remove the Reinhardt from the fight, but because of how far away they were from the rest of Bam Finger Guns, they weren't able to make the most of that EMP. So yeah, it looked like a good highlight play. Yeah, you smack 5 people with an EMP, but the follow just wasn't necessarily there, and Nifty managed to get that sound barrier in the nick of time, and at that point they were able to just grind them down.
Yeah, and that's all it takes in these kinds of fights. Although it's a very valiant effort there from Bronze Esports, managed to get it right near the second point, and if the team is teams can hold as well as they can push as well. So we'll have to see how that goes. Looks like they'll be going the Bastion comp actually.
Yeah, looks like a bunker is going to be trying to set up because they realize that they have to find a point, and they have to just they can't really give up too much space. Well, one way to say it. They do have a little bit of room for error, as Ascent does clean up Turtle, which is a good start, but they don't necessarily have too much room for error. They have this first point, which can be probably the best opportunity to hold on to a defense, but even though they were held at second point, it can be incredibly snowballing, so they don't want to fall prey to that.
One thing I will note is that you can actually crouch behind the payload in the first thing where you also had to hide from the Bastion fire, which is what most people did, but J-Hole moves over the other corner. Our scene was taken out, and they're actually just able to sneak this payload around. Oh, very, very sneaky indeed. So able to sneak it around the corner and out of the danger of the line of sight of the Bastion. So they're doing a good job here. They're still maintaining high ground here, Bronze Esports. J-Hole is desperately trying to heal himself up and get a few picks, and ooh, Vorb sees it right as it's found though, so able to put the shield to defend and get position out of the way. Here comes the amplification matrix. Bastion's gonna try and set up there and get some kills, but it was a very, very unfortunate angle there. They were not able to unfortunately give the Bastion the angle, a favorable angle on the amplification matrix, so no advantage here. As I say that though, J-Hole comes out with his ultimate configuration tank, takes out a bunch of members, clean up at this point. There'll be a reset for Bam Finger Guns.
Yeah, the investment of ultimates was really what allowed them to clean up their defense, and it was looking a little bit shaky points there for the defense. The Bastion taking a little bit more damage than probably what they would have liked. But once the payload got a little bit out of hand from Bam Finger Guns, they stuck in that awkward situation where it's like, we want to be under this cover so the Bastion can't shoot us, but we also want to be able to push the payload, which puts us in the line of sight of the Bastion. So you're stuck in like a catch-22. And at that point, they fell prey to the Dragon Strike and also, as you mentioned, the tank configuration. But now they're just running straight up to them.
Protection sound barrier comes out. Give everyone a little bit of muscle to try and take out the Bastion. The Bastion is protected by the Immortality Field. So J-Hole's not really has much protection, but the healing comes out. That's very advantages from Dr. Human using the Valkyrie there, keeping everyone healed up. And J-Hole got a fantastic angle there with the amplification matrix, making him basically a stationary one-shot kill turret. So very creative use of ultimates and very well rationed out healing from Dr. Human. And J-Hole now has a fantastic line of sight here to get everyone down.
Yeah, and they are playing the biggest game of protect Mr. President here with J-Hole, making sure that as long as the Bastion stays alive, they are still in with a chance, because he is the vast majority of their DPS, especially when you have that amplification matrix. If you've got the immortality field to keep him alive, the supercharger, you've got all these tools, you've got the mercy, you've got all these tools to make sure that the Bastion is there to deal the damage, shred through those shields, and make sure that squishy backline is not going to be able to get anything done, but a good sleep dart goes down onto J-Hole.
J-Hole is slept. Hopefully they'll be able to be jumped on. Unfortunately wakes up just in time to use their ultimate. Not too bad though. First shatter comes out. Does not find anything, unfortunately. Ooh. But the kills are coming though. Vorb is taken down, so there's no shield there. But in terms of pure raw power, they seem to be having a bit more of an advantage. Payload is moving as Bronze Esports maintain high ground on the balcony. I think they're just kind of waiting for people to regroup. They're going to sneak behind. Oh! As I say that though, fantastic use from the EMP. Takes down quite a few members. Oh wow. And again, another great angle for the amplification matrix. Rez comes out, Dr. Human gets so low. Here comes a bomb. Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, and that looks like they could shut it out. They were trying to get themselves to the first point, but J-Hole managing to come in and, as you've been saying the whole time, managed to get a good angle for the Bastion to just let rip, and the rest of the team coming in with the good support, stalling out the fight long enough so that the rest of the team could get there, and J-Hole was able to just let rip. But even though a lot of the credit will probably go to J-Hole, you have to give a lot of credit to the supporting cast, because all of the immortality fields, all of the healing, all the damage amplification, all the shielding, without that, the Bastion just dies immediately, and without the Bastion, how do they win those fights, really?
Well, if you're keeping an eye on Dr. Human got so low in that last push. Dr. Human was, I think, affected by the hack, and then
hit with the EMP, yeah.
Hit with the EMP, and then naded. So, and Dr. Human couldn't heal himself. There's still their HP remaining. He manages to use Valkyrie and sneak behind the first point to get that res onto J-Hole. So J-Hole, as we know, popped back up, went back into configuration turret mode. Application matrix placement was absolutely beautiful. And Bob's your uncle. That's how the match went. Score is now 2-0 in favor of Bronze Esports.
Yeah, and I was looking at that after that first round. I was thinking, this is like a serious opportunity for BAM Phoenix to actually take this map, because if they're able to make their way through that first point, it's a very serious case to roll through point B, or the second point. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, because the bunker setup from Bronze Esports, it looked very well rehearsed, and even in a lot of those scramble situations, they knew how to kind of make the most of what they had. And even though they were losing ground at points, they never really seemed to panic, and they just trusted in the fact that the rest of the team will come in at the right opportunity, and trusting in the fact that J-Hole can just let rip and just fire down an entire team.
Again, that's all you've got. A game as small as at this point. Both teams, again, looked really good, but depending on how solid your defense is, payload maps can be an absolute nightmare for one team or another, depending on how the defense is structured. And I think a lot of credit there goes to Dr. Human, especially on defense. If you get the essential reses and you're uncontested, you're bringing back a hero early in the position that they... Well, this is obviously me being Captain Obvious, but... sorry.
Sometimes you just gotta be obvious, mate.
Yeah, of course. But depending on how well you get those reses, and if you're out of position for people to take you down, that can really lead to some fights that wouldn't normally be won. Allow you to come back into them. Anyway, I've done enough talking. We're now on to our hybrid map, which is Hollywood. And looks like, again, Bronze Esports will be on the attack. So, pretty similar showing here. Well, obviously, with the only difference being with hybrid is that the first point comes in form of a objective that needs to be captured.
It's going to be a capture point, which does leave open the opportunity for bunker compositions, much similar to what we saw out of Bronze Esports, and it's a very good setup that you can have in the cafe area, and can be quite difficult to deal with if you're not able to have the right compositions to really combat it. And I'll have to see how this one plays out. And we're looking at the heroes already being hovered here from the side of BAM Finger Guns. They are looking to go towards a bunker style, but also throwing in the Torbjorn.
Torbjorn might be a dummy pick, maybe not. I see him walking up there, wrecking some havoc. And I'm looking at this sign over here. So the Duggies commissary, which is the cafe, it says no smoking, but I'm pretty sure all these players are smoking mad right now. So they're obviously committing a felony of some kind.
Commissary?
You have to look at the sign of the front.
Yeah, Duggan Commissary?
Yeah.
Duggan Commissary?
Duggan, I don't know what's going on. Just focusing on something. But anyway, yes, we are stuff for silliness. We are seeing a...
It's the cafe. We leave it at that.
I can't be bothered saying anything else. But anyway, did you have the Torb coming out? Allegory's hiding in the little left hallway over here and trying to get us a few sneaky picks. Torbjorn's really good. Actually caused quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, he's just deep in the back, just covering that back angle, so it at least gives them a bit of advanced warning that they are going to be coming from that direction, and give them the opportunity to readjust how they're positioning, and we'll have to see how this offense comes in.
Okay, turret comes out again, but very uncontested. Turret is hacked. Oh, not being able to take it out just yet, but is soon destroying by Zuyu. Apollo FPS still has domination in the top here with the Bastion. Fantastic use of the Hulk there, but Allegory is caught up by Raven and is charged right out of the comms. See you later, buddy. They've already lost the turret, and Torbjorn's fantastic looks. And here comes the ultimate, very quickly built up by Apollo. Tries to get a bunch of kills, goes down the bottom of the cafe. Fortunately left with not much to work with. Does take down J-Hall. And I think Nifty was trying to put up a amplification matrix, but Apollo FPS was just way too late to get up there. It expired, and now he's having a nice little nap over here. I think this will go in the side of Bronze Esports. There's still a few kills coming out, but it's just cleanup at this point. Both teams are trying their absolute hardest. Fang Figure Guns really does not want to be killed in this fight here. And Apollo FPS is actually being guarded by a very well placed mortality field over there, but still can't get to the field in time.
Yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate that the low ground was very hard to defend that, and once they lost that, then that's when you come into a scramble situation. But it looks like Bronze Esports, they want to just play very forward with their offense and get a whole bunch of kills and open up a lot of space to allow them to push very deep through second point.
And you may have saw just there that caught out, I don't know who, because they just changed, but there's a couch out there. The Arisa put down the Superchargers, taken out immediately. So the Superchargers, so I think they're changing anyway, so it didn't really matter too much. But yeah, I think they switched over to the just standard goats now.
Yeah, the change of style, this isn't necessarily an area that suits the bunker style. You can't really set up very well. There aren't very good avenues to make that work, as they try to get the boob into the Earth Shatter, doesn't manage to land it though.
Yep, again, Earth Shatter is also to get much value out of that. Raven, they have a few ultimates on the ground. They have the ever so useful EMP, and there it comes. 5 members are hacked, and here comes the grab. These can't do anything. Borbers and Apollo FPS are basically left like sitting ducks. They can't protect themselves. Absolutely torn to shreds. And they would normally stagger the Baby Diva there, but they need to get this payload to the second point ASAP. So no point there. Let's just push it up. Our scene is doing a fantastic job as the Summer over here.
Yeah, literally as you said, they have an EMP. Arsene comes in with the big money EMP, sets up the rest of the fight, and they didn't. And because they were able to get so many members in that combo, they didn't have to invest all that much. They still have an Earth Shatter. Well, actually, not on the other side. They still have a Nano. They still have a sound barrier defensively. On the other side, there's an Earth Shatter and the bomb, so have to be a little bit careful about how they play around that. But so far, it's looking very good here for Bronze Esports. They've just dominated pretty much every point so far.
And you know what? They've actually pushed them all the way back to the spawn area. They don't even let them pull up, so this is just free space to push the payload.
Real estate.
Yeah, it's free real estate, yes. I said space, but thanks for showing them even there. Anyway, so they're trying to fight around this corner. This corner over here, coming down to the main street. Oh! That was a great shatter, but luckily Nifty was there using the ultimate. Oh, this is a fantastic.
Oh no!
Oh! And I think they were able. I don't know. No, that wasn't a. I thought that was a circle from a immortality field, but no.
It looked like it, but yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, that could actually keep him alive. No, it's not. They're all on the ground. There's a bomb literally right next to him. You don't want to wake up next to a bomb. That's never a fun time, and they are just completely shut down in that fight, and it's essentially back to a reset at this stage.
Well, has anyone actually woken up to next to a bomb and went to tell a tale? If you have, please let me know. I'm curious. As I say, that's what a fantastic hack again! Our scene is just doing this over and over again. Hack 6, easy kills coming out for Bronze Esports. And even when we saw it fantastic, the set defense there, and the 4 kills with the shatter and the bomb from Bang Finger Guns, it looks like it'll be a relatively uncontested push all the way to point 3, and it will be all 3 with time left in the bank for Bronze Esports.
That is literally why Sombra came into the meta. You go up against GOATS compositions, they group up, you hit all of them with an EMP, and then you just demolish them. That is exactly like... That's the exact reason why Sombra came back in, well, I say came back, but really emerged as this big GOATS killer, or at least GOATS alternative, Goat's handler, because it can just make massive plays like that. All 6 were hacked, and at that point they could do literally nothing. They just had the left clicks, and so it's like, well, I guess we just lose at this point.
And there's one more thing in my mind. Oh yes, so unfortunately we won't be able to see Sombra used as much anymore when the new patch comes in, not only because it's 222 lock, but her hack length has been nerfed to 5 seconds. So that 1 second is an essential time for people to be able to regroup, and it's 1 second sooner they can actually use their abilities. So you might not be able to see them. This might be the last 2 times you actually be able to see Sombra in her powerful self in this current meta, but I digress. We'll have to see how it plays out for the next season in which 222 is implemented. As we see Bronze Esports heading over to the defense. They are going standard goats, it looks like, with the Sombra. Arsene is doing a fantastic job. I want to imagine them switching. And on the side of Bang Finger Guns, we do have...
I would be surprised if they change off of this, unless they feel very confident about setting a bunker of their own just on the high ground. It looks like they are going to be running it. I mean, as you mentioned, Ascent has been really good with this Sombra. If it's not broke, don't try and fix it. Just keep on running what has been working. Have to see it. But now that they see what is coming towards them, Ascent is in a perfect position to figure them out. AGL trying to fire off a few shots here and there to maybe pick the, or at least get some advanced warning of that Sombra, but it's going to be a hard push here.
They're trying to go through the top balcony over here and get the bastion set up. So I don't know if they're trying to fire through the corridor, but it seems to just be coming up to try to take everyone. I think what they're trying to do is actually just go up there and out muscle and just get the straight out kills. But Apollo FPS as a big presence of the bastion, if he's left uncontested, you're not really gonna have a good time there. Suyu is the last one taken out, and pretty quick taking from. I don't think they'll be coming back to contest it, so it looks like a pretty quick taking from Bang Finger Guns over here.
Yeah, that was incredibly quick. It looked like Bronze kind of disrespected them a little bit, just trying to push up into that bastion or the bunker setup, and just not really. Like, surely they knew what was coming their way. They sort of realized that there is going to be an immortality field. They're going to try and push through a boosted up bastion, and they just got completely shredded. And now they are in a situation where they have to be incredibly careful because all the ultimates are coming online as Apollo is starting to let rip.
Oh, you don't want to see that configuration take with an amplification matrix. One shot kill. You're basically wishing you'll just get knocked out 1 second sooner when you see that. Oh boy, I wouldn't want to face up against that. Using that as a threat to disperse the enemy team and get a few kills while they're at it. So actually some steady progress being made here in terms of Bang Finger Guns.
Now that they've managed to set themselves up essentially a makeshift pirate ship, which is what's usually used in a lot of escort maps, predominantly things like Junkertown. Now they're trying to get it set up here, but the defense are not allowing them. They're just running through.
J-Hole does get a pick onto Apollo FPS. Here comes a bomb, takes out J-Hole. It wasn't what when the bomb went, landed on top of the wagon with wheels and the hay bales. So spending too much time figuring out, wait, where's this bomb? I need to defend against myself, and then gets taken out when they realize, oh, there it was. Again, some very steady progress being made here. Arsene, the next one to be taken out. Dr. Human managed to get a sleep onto Allegory rather. But a very quick 2 points here from Bang Finger Guns. 5 minutes left to capture this last point. Could actually be a lot closer than we expected here.
Yeah, it's actually incredibly powerful, but this could be the situation that might cause them a little bit of trouble once they get into the incredibly close quarters. That's where this Sombra Goats composition is really going to pay for itself, and with all the ultimates that they have now banked up, if they're able to get one good fight and reset the economy, as they do get a good EMP engage.
EMP is great, but unfortunately Ramaton finds no one except for Vorbis at the last second. Only get 1 kill out of that, but more ultimates are being used.
There we go.
So yeah, it looks like it'll be a general contest. Actually manages to get the res, but so many people are down at this point, it's basically moot. So again, it'll be basically, oh no, Allegory having a nice little nap over here. Unfortunately, taken out just at spawn. They leave her a few seconds. Interesting strat of actually trying to fire it straight from spawn, but the distance is so large. The Bronze Esports don't actually need to really do much to avoid it. Just walk out of the way.
Yeah, it seemed like they were going to be trying to change off anyway, so just throwing that out while you had it, might as well. And yeah, now they're going to be running the Goats composition for themselves, understanding that they can't run that bunker anymore now that they've lost control and lost momentum, as Nifty gets a good kill right at the start.
Oh, 4-man stun. Fantastic work from Raven. Manages to get one pick out of it and is nail boosted. Bang finger guns are actually doing a good job of trying to run away, but as I say that, Vorbis is found out and pinned by Raven. So it came off the back of a fantastic Earth Shatter from Raven. Another cleanup.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a pretty good start once Ascent was taken down right at the start by Nifty, but as you mentioned, that Earth Shatter really just turned it on its head. Nano was invested as well, and they still have a few good tools to work with, especially on the defensive side of things, so let's see how the rest of this plays out. As J-Hole takes a lot of damage, has to be very careful as this next attack is going to be coming through. And they have a lot of time to work with. They have a reasonable amount of space to work with. 3 minutes on the clock as the hack goes down.
Another grab comes out. Fantastic defensive use of the Transcendence from Turtle to keep everyone alive. And the picks go in favor of Bang Finger Guns at the moment. Arsene and Dr. Human both taken out. Gives him more room to push up to get some more valuable push up to the final cap point. And they're actually making some real good progress here. 3 are taken out, getting very, very close to the end. Nifty's trying to get a little bounce it up on the wall here to keep everyone healed up in the distance. As I say that though, here comes another Shatter and another EMP. Takes everyone out. Nice surprise. And unfortunately, Nifty cannot save Vorbis, but keeps everyone else nice and healed up with the use of the sound barrier. A lot of brawling going on here. Charge from Apollo FPS is pretty high and uses the the Graviton Surge to get everyone there, but unfortunately no one could follow up on it. And return serve though, Dr. Human does put a nano onto Raven, and now things start going the way of Bronze Esports. So it was looking real hopeful there for Bang Finger Guns for a little bit, but they've been pushed back through the use of a great EMP and another nano shatter, and it's back to the drawing board for them.
Yeah, but they do have some good ultimates to work with. We've been seeing them utilize that Diva Bomb very well throughout this series so far. We'll have to see if they're able to get something out of this one here. It seems that they go anyone, but they do get the shatter off the back of it though.
They get the shatter off the back of it, and Turtle's able to take down Raven. Unfortunately, the bomb found no one. Turtle is hacked, so and again, so is the rest of his team now. Another 6-man EMP, and I don't know if it's just me, but Arsene is doing a really good job of getting these EMPs quickly and using them when they need to be used. So fantastic work there. Yeah, look at that. Raven just comes along.
Oh wow. It looked like it was such a good start to the fight. They managed to turn around Raven, managed to put him on the ground and get him out of the fight immediately. But the turnaround ultimates, the rally up from Father Time on the Brigitte managed to keep him alive long enough and force the rest of Bam Fingerguns to stack up on the point to try and push it to allow for yet another 6-man EMP from Ascent. And at that point, the fight, it just allowed Raven to get back to the fight, and now we have to see how this last fight goes, because it's less than a minute to go, and a great shatter to start this one off, but this could shut them down. And
here comes another grab, but the bubble from Apollo FPS does a good job of protecting everyone in their Graviton Surge. First fatality comes, J-Hall is taken out. There's only 30 seconds left though, and Raven is nanoed, but also naded, so wasn't able to do much with the nano boost. Raven, was trying to charge out of there, snagged the wall, so no shield there for a little bit. Oh, sleep comes. Vorbis is slept. No shield there. And another EMP. But luckily, Nifty is not affected and is able to use the sound barrier. Seems to actually be getting the kills at this point now. Here comes the bomb to keep everyone off. Another shatter here. Raven is taken out. Ooh, looks like it's just a bit of cleanup here. And I think they will be able to take all 3.
Oh, and I think they managed to get in just before overtime. That was going to be incredibly important. I think this is like 0.1 or 0.2 seconds on the clock. If they're able to hold out and force them into overtime, it would have been, them Fingerguns would have just been playing for a draw at that stage and trying to force another map, which would have just been a real rough situation, to be quite honest. But they do manage to get in with the slightest amount of time on the clock, so they do get a minute to help, or a minute to have another crack at this first point. And considering how their first run at point A went, I'm very interested to see how they played out. If they just try and run the same composition, because you don't necessarily have a lot of time to try and get that kind of slow and measured setup. You have a minute, you have a single push, and you need to make it count.
And I think it was .2, so that was incredible, and that's how important these last pushes are. The smallest of seconds will really result in you either getting another full minute for a push, or just only being able to play for a draw. And honestly, when I try and play for a draw, it just feels a little bit demotivating because I've done all that work and
it's never fun. The heart is definitely not in it when you're playing for a draw.
Indeed. Anyway, as I say that though, trying to navigate over the roof there, but my camera stopped me. We have a minute, and Apollo is going as the Bastion, so
it worked in the first time they pushed it through with this bunker composition. We'll have to see how the adaptation on defense is going to come through for the side of Bronze Esports, whether or not they try and contest them on that high ground, try and force them towards the point, and then engage them there. Allegory gets an early frag there.
It's all really, really meaningful, especially when you only have a minute to push. There's no mercy there for the res either, so they are down some healing. And Apollo actually tries to set up there and do what he did last time, but is hacked, so delayed a little bit. I know exactly what he's doing, but I don't think it matters either way because Allegory is getting the picks.
Oh, dude, yet again gets mowed down by Apollo, who is set up on that high ground, and this is just giving the opportunity over to the side of Bam Fingerguns. It's working out really well for them. They only just now getting onto the point, but now that they're here, it's going to be very rough for Bronze to really force them away, and so it looks like this first point could very well just go down.
Indeed, but it looks like there's a few people trying to come on and defend the point, but it will be in vain. And guess what? We are now in overtime push, some of the most exciting moments of Overwatch. If they leave the payload for so much more than a second, the match will end, so they don't want to pull a Shanghai Dragons right now. So
or any specific letter number combination.
Or yeah, what was it? F7? I don't know. So I think so. Anyway, as I go through the beautiful western set of Hollywood, here comes a Dragon Strike from Allegory. And Allegory blind fire. Oh, must have fired a Sonic Arrow there, but fires through the building, takes down 2.
Allegory is just on fire this round, getting those early kills to open up the map for themselves, and now getting the double kill there with Dragon Strike. Completely open up the map for his team. Indeed.
Pushing the payload here relatively uncontested is here as well, rather. Apollo switches to configuration tank mode.
Looks like they're just going to essentially give up. It looks like they're really playing it towards the end of this. The tank does run out, so they can make their way forward.
Oh, big hack as well here, and a huge shatter. Shatter actually doesn't really get anyone. I say huge because it's still huge, but anyway, here comes out an Ant Matrix, a res, a bomb. Bomb takes out Raven. J-Hole over here, I believe, has got high on energy, but unfortunately is taken down. Supercharger from Gorbis also suffers, but again, they're just able to out-muscle their presence on the point. I like what they were doing there, trying to wait for configuration take to expire, but Bang Fingerguns had a lot of ultimates left in the bank there, so it didn't even really matter at that point. A little bit more time to configure and get it all sorted out. It's all the better for them.
Yeah, and they did end up burning a lot of the ultimates for Bam Fingerguns, so they do have an opportunity to stop them in their tracks at any point here on this third point, because we saw how long it took for them to manage to get all the way through to the end, but an early kill there from Nifty is really going to help them out and open up a little bit of space, but all it's going to take is one good fight, and they have some space to work with.
Definitely do, and again, Apollo's being left pretty uncontested here, so first order of business that Bronze Esports needed to start getting the people off payload is take down Apollo FPS, and as I say that, Apollo FPS gets hacked, so prime position to jump on vulnerability of only being able to use the handgun, but he's left unhacked, and here we go. Beautiful angle here on the amplification matrix. Apollo FPS takes down 2, and they're just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. This might be a full 6.
Yeah, with the tank configuration, there's not really much that they can do about this. They're trying to stun them down to at least give them some opportunity to have anything to work, but with just a minute on the clock, Bam Fingerguns just go through the whole map yet again.
They took all 3, and most of them, all of it aside from the first point in overtime. Now, if we look over here, Bronze Esports have 3 minutes 46 seconds to do the same. So very rare, but they could be able to push it with some overtime, and at that point it could be either for a draw or for a win. So we'll have to see what happens. 3:46 so is, I think, enough time to try and do the same. And both teams again have been relatively even on attack and defense, although I must say I was very pleasantly surprised by the attack of BAM finger guns right there. Allegory was doing a fantastic job scouting everyone out and getting the essential picks as the Hanzo. And the Bastion again doing a great job. As soon as he found the space on the payload, able to hop on and clear everyone out, and very well placed rather, amplification matrices from Nifty. So
yeah, just incredibly well done. And it seemed like some of the Bronzes couldn't really get their footing. They tried to just run this Sombra Goats into it, tried to do what had been working for them pretty much all of this series so far, but when it just kept on not working, it seemed like they were just very bullheadedly bulldoggedly trying to headbutt their way through it, but it just wasn't really working.
We'll have to see what works and what doesn't right now, because Bronze Esports do have 3.5 minutes to push through to the third point again. So we'll see where that goes. Kind of poke out there to see what they've got. See the Bastions there. Go underneath the arch. Try and get a few essential picks. Just doing a little bit of quietly right now. Just
yeah,
go ahead.
They had the time to have a bit of a more measured approach, just to try and get in there with a bit more certainty and a little bit more safety, as they aren't managing to get underneath them, but it is a bit of an awkward position for both sides, to be quite honest.
If you see that immortality field there, that was priced brilliantly. It was able to just hide it behind the corner, so it also got people from Bang Finger Guns downstairs as well. So they're killing and hitting, and they're wondering where's the immortality field, and they couldn't find it. So fantastic work there from BAM Finger Guns.
Yeah, they even managed to get the resurrection onto Vorba, so the Orisa is back in the fight, and throughout all of this, Apollo FPS, yeah, he's been hacked a couple of times, but he's been not really under threat for the most part, especially with Nifty and his immortality fields, with Turtle at his back as well. Apollo's been incredibly safe throughout this map.
Yes, Apollo has been basically the beating heart of BAM Finger Guns at the moment, trying to keep him alive as much as possible. As soon as he goes down, most of their attacking power is gone. But as I say that, the first attempt comes out. It's Tire comes out from Allegory, but RC gets the hack. Not really a result from that though. They're able to kind of just hide in the safety of the cafe up here. And
the team was not in a position to follow up on that. Yeah, you hit a whole bunch of people, but your team was in no position to try and have any kind of follow-up damage or CC or literally anything, so it was just a bit of a waste. And it does look like it was a bit of a use just to try and change heroes, because Ascent is now on over to the Hanzo, trying to get a little bit more long-range damage, see if they can get a Dragon Strike, just essentially act as a bit of a bunker buster.
They're going around this corner again to try and get initial thing on the payload, but out comes Apollo FPS configuration take. Luckily, Suyu pulls out a fantastic sound barrier to keep everyone alive. Still couldn't help J-Hall though. J-Hall absolutely shredded. Now he's got to hurt. They're still getting up to around 50%, but the percentage doesn't matter. They need to capture. I think at this point, oh, here comes the desperation self-destruct to get the mech back ASAP. Very well decision at this point. Look, at this point, I think they're also going for a overtime push if they are managed to get the thing. If they manage to get the point. But again, very smartly used ultimates from BAM Finger Guns.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
It's just really rough for them, because they're trying to just pick apart literally any member, but with the amount of healing, the amount of sustainability, the amount of durability coming out of this line, they just can't deal with all of them. They have to deal with the immortality field, and because they're trying to deal with the immortality field, they're not dealing with the real problems. That is Apollo, that is Allegory, that is Nifty, that is everyone on the side of BAM Finger Guns, and they're just losing members. They're just getting ground out in these fights. And talking about them having to try and push in overtime, I'm struggling to see them even grab this first point here.
We'll have to see what happens. Oh, Apollo does take down the first casualty, which is Raven, and out comes the ultimates that they all have banked up, and that will be it. Bam Finger Guns wins, takes down Hollywood, scores now 2-1 in a fantastic showing on Hollywood.
Yeah, a real turnaround from what we saw in the previous map. We saw the bunker composition come out before, and it had some cracks, but on this map here, from the side of Bam Finger Guns, once they got set up on that second round, there was absolutely no stopping them, and Bronze Esports looked like they just forgot how to deal with that style of composition. They just tried to run the Sombra Goats into it time and time again. It just kept on not working, and it didn't look like they were making any adaptations in how to deal with it, and they just got punished for it time and time again.
Indeed, and you think with the way that time bake looked, and that was off the back of the 0.2 seconds there they managed to capture that point with as well. That is insane. And with that, they got defaulted to the 1 minute because they still had time remaining on the clock, and then were able to capture the next 3 points on round 3. So that was
incredible. If they don't get that 0.2 seconds on that first push, we could be looking at just the end of the series right there.
But that was not to be. There's a lot of determination in Bam Finger Guns. Fantastic showing from then. We are still on match point though, 2-1 in favor of Bronze Esports. We're going into a little bit of a break right now, so we might actually break to a quick intermission because I need to quickly make myself vacant for a second. So unless Phoenix wants to go, we might split to a BRB screen.
Oh, I'm okay to go to a break. We can just kind of collect ourselves as we get into the next game, though.
Yep, so stay seated rather and stay tuned. The next map will be Horizon Lunar Colony. Bam Finger Guns versus Bronze Esports, score 1-2. We'll be right back with more AOEsports. Looks like we are returning. I do apologize for my brief absence. Anyway, looks like we are ready. I gotta change colors. So, you there, Phoenix?
Yeah, I'm still here, ready to go.
So, in terms of Horizon Lunar Colony, it's probably one of the more, I guess, for teams, frustrating maps, depending on how one team's going compared to the other. 2CP is always a little bit of a.
It's a very
Well,
polarizing, just discipline when it comes to professional Overwatch. It's Yeah, it can just be a general frustration for a lot of teams, and um, just the styles that tend to be the most successful when it comes to 2CP, they can be kind of rough to try and play. And also to play against, to be quite honest.
Indeed, again, same as that first point there, he defended very well, Bamfinger. So who's to say they can't do that again on one or the other of the points of Horizon Lunar Colony. Again, I do apologize for the brief ab silences I'm having right now. I figured in for a long night, get myself some food.
All good. We should be able to get into the game very soon, as I think we're managing to get the teams on the right sides. Yep, I think teams are the right colors again.
All right. Well, I've got a question for you from the sound from a microphone.
Hmm.
From the sound that you hear, what do you think that I'm eating?
Oh God, I'm not good at food sounds.
Honestly, I don't think anyone is. I mean, why would you pay attention? Like,
there are some foods that are quite distinct in like how like the sound when you eat them, but for the most part, I'm just like, I don't know. It's.
oh, I'm eating a bowl of Rice Krispies right now because I'm very hungry.
Fair enough. Whatever works. Alright, as we are getting into this fourth map and potentially the final map of this series if Bronze Esports have anything to say about it, but Bam Finger Guns are trying to keep themselves alive in this series, managing to bring back that third map essentially from the brink, and now we have to see how both teams kind of readjust themselves after that little bit of a break coming into this fourth map.
Well, as you were saying before, Phoenix, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And sorry, it looks like one of the team members is saying something very immature in the team chat right now, and I'm giggling like an idiot because I'm very immature.
Hey, we love it.
Anyway, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They are going the giving a chance to the Allegory as a Torbjorn. So they gotta do that again. Fellow FPS is staying the trusty old Bastion on defense. So we'll have to see how that goes.
A lot of the tools that were the most successful for them are still there. Apollo, or literally the rest of the team, Apollo is on that Bastion. We'll have to see how Bronze try and come up against them, as they actually have brought out the Mei here for Ascent, trying to just control space, essentially. And now that they see that the Bastion setup is going to be the name of the game yet again, have to see how they try and combat that, as they're trying to use the walls to at least give them some opportunity to make their way towards the point.
Yeah, selections are pretty. Oh wow! First fatality comes from Allegory's trusty turret. My baby, as he would say, takes down the big old Reinhardt. My gun's better than yours, Reinhardt. What gun do you have? Oh wait, you don't have a gun. You have a hammer. So unfortunately, first fatality comes. They're gonna now wait for them to come back. So again, more precious time being shredded off the clock here.
Yeah, it's gonna be really awkward for the runner to try and make his way through, because he's just the lone man trying to, well, essentially run the gauntlet. As the Mei is actually just gonna be standing on the point trying to block him off, but now it's gonna try and force a readjustment here from the defense. But it's not, so far it's not really working.
Apollo FPS is being left uncontested, and that's the issue. It takes down 4 people, 5 people, and then the last one falls. Again, Raven's not really having a very good time with Allegory. Allegory's just seeking him out, saying, hey, you think you're a big muscly man? Look at my hammer. My hammer is a lot better than yours. Can your hammer fix turrets? I don't think so. So, again, Apollo FPS is not being contested at all.
And already he's got his ultimate. He's got his tank configuration up already. That's incredibly quickly. Yeah, Dr. Human on the other side with the nano. Is it going to be useful? But in comparison, to be honest, I think I'd rather have a tank configuration, and Apollo is still just shredding through people. The Mei wall is just a little bit too late, and then not able to really get any work done here.
And you have to remember that Mei wall isn't really that much of a HP difference. I mean, HP barrier to get through, and especially since it got nerfed, I think, from 400 to 300 HP. I think that was a few months ago. A Bastion, just by pressing left click, can just shred right through it. So it's insane. It's basically a last strat that's being done in vain at the moment. So
Yeah.
as we see, again setting up, they don't even need the Reinhardt shield. They just need the Orisa one. Orisa's up there to protect the Bastion, and that's about it.
Yeah, the Valkyrie actually gets popped here by a turtle a little bit prematurely, I believe.
Either
Probably a fat finger.
there might be maybe being a smart aleck by just firing the turret gun here to get a random kill. May have been a fat finger. Hopefully it won't matter too much. He really kicked himself. It ends up needed a bit later. Anyway, Apollo comes out with configuration tank and fires. Oh, they heard that and they're hiding just beneath this little vacuum chamber down here. So 2 ults shredded for no reason by Bam finger guns. To say that though, out comes a lot of ground covered here by the multi-core. Again, Raven falls. Raven is not really having a very good time with Allegory, and a fantastic again amplification matrix placed out. Follow FPS again left uncontested. Allegory queuing up a few other kills, getting kills with his gun, his molten core, and his hammer. If that's not a versatile hero, I don't know what is.
I'm trying to think, where was the damage supposed to be coming in that composition? They just weren't able to like really get much damage done, and yeah, they're kind of beefy. They can control space, but you're trying to control space against something that's already set up, and you're just getting blasted down consistently. And they had to make a quick shift of compositions, and already it is not working. Raven having an incredibly rough time. They're just going to get blasted by the tank yet again, and Apollo is just going to finish this one off. And yeah, it looks like a completely different team than what we saw in the first 2 maps.
Apollo's been doing a fantastic job here. Again, I have not seen Apollo being contested at all in the past 2 maps, especially when it came to that last 3-point push in overtime. Apollo's been getting, I need to check how many eliminations Apollo has got, because he's been doing the brunt of the work, and not to discredit the rest of the team, but it's just because he's been left so uncontested, and they're supporting him right now. They are supporting him and keeping him healed and letting him have the immortality field so he can stay alive, and placing the amplification matrix in front of him. Again, it's the ticking clock within the clockwork that is this team. So very good job. At the best, Bronze Esports can now only tie. So we'll have to see what happens. But depending on it'll be interesting to see if they use the Bastion on attack here, because there's not many opportunities for Bastion to set up without being caught out. But
Yeah, the avenues aren't really there. Like for Hollywood, you can kind of understand it because there was that high ground that you have reasonably safe access to, whereas here on Horizon Lunar Colony, there is no safe entry point to try and get in with that Bastion unless you try and make your way through the outer space area, which I don't recommend.
Yeah, you can't really move or do anything in space. And also, just read the Twitch chat right now. I do apologize to talking about eating. I was just being an idiot. Sorry about that. We will focus on Overwatch. Please do excuse the occasional meme. But anyway, as I say that, I also apologize to Phoenix in return for bringing up a stupid subject.
Oh, good. I think it's interesting. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with this defense. I mean, they're trying to pull out the very similar one with the bunker for themselves. See if it's going to work. But on the other side, Apollo is actually going to go over to the Symmetra, see if they can try and cut a path through towards the point. Make it a little bit more easy for them.
I think Bronze Esports have a similar idea here with the Bastion. And as I say that, the May wall does come up, but Allegory uses it not to contest the Bastion, but get rid of the threat from the Hanzo. They sneak around the back though. I must have missed that entirely.
It was a Symmetra portal that they used to go straight onto the point, and that is exactly what they needed to have happen. And already, that's just a clean fight. That's a clean win, and that is the map. Easy as you like, going over to Bam finger guns, and that's a equal up series.
That was so sneaky. I didn't even notice it. I was focusing too much on that May wall that blocked the Hanzo that I didn't even notice the little sneaky Symmetra turret they used. Apollo FPS is the real cornerstone of the team right now. And as you look here at the play of the game, again, all of Apollo FPS, all he has to do is just point, click. There's no contest there. I think I saw the Reinhardt trying to jump up and get a hammer swing, but unfortunately, this ain't workshop mode, buddy. You're not going to be able to jump that high. So
yeah, it's yeah, that's a bit of a rough one there. Bronze Esports, they started the series incredibly strongly, taking those first 2 maps, but since then, Bam Fingerguns have just definitely looked the better team.
and it all rolls around, like I said, Apollo. Apollo has been a very good DPS damage hero at the moment, and as I've mentioned before, their East hasn't been contested at all, and you need to be able to counter what's in front of you if you have any hope of succeeding. I guess winning a point or winning a map or winning a fight. So there's obviously some compromises that may have to be made inside Bronze Esports. I'm not really too honest, but considering it is Busan now, there aren't as many heroes like Bastion. Torbjorn maybe, but Bastion can be a little bit moot depending on how you use him.
Yeah, I did see in the lobby chat, Sen was saying, yeah, good luck trying to get Bastion to work on control. It has been the tool that has been netting Bam Fingerguns a lot of their victories so far. It's just that bunker composition, and Bronze Esports, they have definitely struggled in trying to deal with it. So moving back towards control, I think it's much more in their wheelhouse, where you're seeing a lot of the more goat style compositions where we saw them really dominate Bam Fingerguns. If we see similar compositions to that, I can definitely see them picking up this map.
I agree with you, and I think it is a big waiting game at the moment as we head to beautiful Busan in South Korea. And if you remember, the first control map was very close. So it went 1-1 and then 99-99. And as I said before, and as you know, Bronze Esports took that out just slightly. So.
Yeah, it was just a single fight at the end. One team had a really good Bionade, and that was essentially what shut it out in favor of Bronze Esports. Whether or not that'll work out here on Busan, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll have to. We're into the ship, and we'll see what kind of compositions, because we see Ascent already hovering the Mei, and that's one of those picks that does have a pretty good place here.
Indeed. Mei can be used very resourcefully, especially if you time your icicles and your walls just right. Blizzard, especially when everyone's kind of cooperating on the point, can really take everyone off guard and allow you to really focus and kill the enemy team. As we expected, though, no Bastion this time around. Instead, they're opting to go Somber Goat spam finger guns. So as they make their way up, aided by the Lucio speed boost, seems slowly walk up to the main point. Not slowly, rather, they're using the speed boost, my bad. Yeah, a lot of fighting up in this tie platform over here. A lot of swinging hammers. Again, first use of the Mei wall, unfortunately doesn't get any. Vorbis, though, to charge to Father Time, but caught on a position, taken down by Arsene. And this is what we're talking about, the Mei wall over here. Trying to freeze a few enemies, can't get too close there. The range of the Mei gun's actually surprisingly long, so you really don't want to get caught on your own there. If you have no way to escape, see you later. Very close capture and getting first control of the point. Raven is stunned, then hacked, then naded. Not a very good night for him at the moment. Cry of the Raven nevermore, as Edgar Allan Poe said. So.
Yeah, and Ascent is actually trying to use this Mei to lock apart certain sections of the composition out of Bam Fingerguns. It hasn't really worked out too well so far. They haven't been able to get those good splits, but does manage to get the Blizzard off, and that is going to essentially shut out this fight.
Huge Blizzard. Also caught Raven unaware as well, who was not Raven, sorry, Vorbis, who was walking underneath and saw the Blizzard too late and couldn't walk out of it. So fantastic work there. 21% though in favor of Bam Fingerguns.
Yeah, this is going to be a real dangerous point, because they have to be very careful about how they approach the point, because the first person that goes through, they can very easily just get locked out by the Mei. And this is where AGL actually has to get the hack, and now they got the hack, they do start making their way through, but it's a little bit too late, and everyone just dies immediately.
Raven, man, gets his retribution. Maybe a little bit of a late nano on there, but managed to take down 2 with a single charge, and just a nano to scare everyone else away. You can mess with me. I have got a big trophy attached to the end of my hammer, and I'm nano boosted. Do not come near me. And that's what we like to see here.
But I like the
Yeah.
theory that they try to go with. They get the hack onto Ascent, so they have like a free push towards the point. But they didn't necessarily just expect them to just straight up body them once they step through. As we can see, the May wall not really blocking off anyone there, but almost getting. Oh, actually, there's a massive hack.
Yeah, CMP comes out, affects 5 people, and J-Hole is stunned, so managed to take down 2, takes down half the team, a few little stagglers left on point. Staggers, rather. So, again, the Maze there just trying to recontest. Tries to get the charge, fortunately can't get it, but soon hacked in RC time of the question. The last remaining hero is Tsuyu, who will soon be taken out. Oh, the Zarya shield takes him down, but at 80%, a point will flip back in favor of Bam Finger Guns.
Yeah, they managed to stall out for a decent amount of time. They managed to hold on to ultimates. They're still quite a fair away from the rest of them, but yeah, now it's into the point where they have to try and retake with the main, who is much more adept at holding space rather than trying to capture space. Have to see how they try and approach this as the Graviton comes out immediately, but the return sound barrier is going to be good though.
Oh, that was a fantastic placed blizzard there. Almost everyone except for one is affected. Even with the sound barrier, they couldn't do anything. And as a result, team wipe right there. That was a beautiful. And this is what we were talking about before about the utility of the blizzard. Catch people off guard. There's nothing they can do. Even with the sound barrier used just in time, there's too much raw damage coming out.
And they're just throwing out abilities just to try and prevent them from getting anywhere near the point. We see all of the shifts in heroes just to try and just dash their way towards the point. It is into a scramble situation now for the side of Bam Finger Guns, but it's not going to be enough. They managed to get themselves off the point for just a fraction. That's going to be the first round, going over to Bronze Esports, essentially off the back of Ascent on the main.
Again, this has been absolutely crazy. One thing I've observed is that Bronze Esports have been better at the maps that don't have, I guess,
Fashion setups.
well, more capture points. So capture points A and B and stuff. They're better at the payload map, and they're better at, right now they're better at control as well. Whereas Bam Finger Guns are better at hybrid and 2CP. So there might be a bit of a style change there. And maybe it might just be just misfortune that they're now on a map that they're not type they're not very strong on, but I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself. Anything could still happen at this point.
Yeah, interestingly, a quad DPS coming out for the side, well actually, is that quad? Triple DPS from the side of Bam Finger Guns. There is a lot more open space that they can work with here in the city center, and already they managed to get a good kill onto Ascent, and that's a good one to start off with.
Remember guys, savor this while you can. Won't be seeing triple DPS or any comp besides 2-2-2 for much longer. Anyway, first kick comes out. Bronze Esports are still trying to get onto the main point here, still trying to stay in the contest. The Pharah is being left relatively uncontested. As I say that, 2 quick picks come out in favor of Bronze Esports. Leon to a nifty, actually.
Yeah, and actually, Ascent switching over to the Soldier 70 to contest that barrier. You're talking about how Allegory was pretty much uncontested. Now there is a tool to deal with that, and it is working out immediately. The immediate impact, Allegory gets taken down.
I just saw that right there. Yep, Allegory just absolutely shredded there. Very quick pick there from Arsene, and very smart hero change there as well. Funnily enough, you don't really actually see Soldier 76 play competitively much anymore, so it's always a pleasant surprise when you do. There's still quite a lot of utility in his kit, especially with his biotic field and his pulse rifle, especially if you have someone who's good at it. Usually in this better. Oh, sorry.
And Ascent has definitely been a very serviceable DPS on that Sombra, and I assume it's going to be similarly as serviceable here on the Soldier 76, but he's in a bit of an awkward situation. He's caught out of position and has to be a little bit careful. The killing does come through. He does the coalescence and the rocket barrage, but gets nothing out of it.
Pharah is taken down and is shortly res, so that he's still in the fight. Colossus tries to get people down, but is negated by the power of the rally here from Father Time. Down comes the Wrecking Ball, just trying to get a bunch of contest in. Kept nice and well alive by Turtle. Here comes a... I forgot what it was called.
Tactical Visor?
Tactical Visor, I'm sorry. Trying to take that one.
He hasn't been seen in a while, like, don't blame him for kind of forgetting.
Yeah.
His ability is like, it's a thing,
It's a thing.
The aimbot thing?
The aimbot thing that would get you banned from TF2? Oh yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Anyway,
buddy.
so what I saw there was Arsene was trying to walk around and use the attack visor to take down the Mercy. Didn't succeed, but Mercy was taken out by J-Hole anyway, so they're still on this point. They've got a couple ultimates in terms of the EMP and the Valkyrie for Bam Finger Guns, but 87%. They only have one chance, and Oligori is now switched to the McCree, which we see a bit more typically in this meta. 95%. Something needs to happen soon. I'm going to switch over to the Sombra. Sombra is just hiding behind.
Well, they're trying to get an engagement onto the point, yeah. But they need someone, and like with this composition, they don't really have good tools to just stand on the point. A good hack goes down onto so many of the members, but the fight is still needs to be onto the point because they've only got squishy members.
Exactly, except for they got everyone, except for the most important person you need to hack. They didn't get Suyu, and Suyu was just able to. Oh, I don't know what the heck Arsene's doing over here.
Oh, they're all going off. They're popping off, and that's the win.
They didn't hack Suyu, and they was able to use the sound barrier to protect everyone. So after a fantastic showing of matches from both teams, in the end, Bronze Esports is able to deny the reverse sweep and take down this series. Good game, well played for both teams, but in the end, Bronze Esports show their strength and they're able to come away with a W. Now, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of thoughts on that, Phoenix, but what's your overall thoughts on the match just passed?
Overall, I think we kind of went through it throughout that last round where it seems like whenever there was a situation where a bunker was necessary, then finger guns definitely was an advantage. It looks like Bronze Esports just haven't really locked down the ways to be dealing with that. Not just in composition, but also in just like play style. But when it comes to just like standard ghosts, sombra ghosts, or things of that nature, when it comes to just like straight up fighting, just straight up aim battles, it looks like Bronze Esports were definitely an advantage, and that really worked out for them. They managed to get the 2 control maps, and that's essentially what you look for when it comes to control. You a lot of the time it's just like all that brawling, and the better aimers usually win. So that seems to be how it played out throughout that series.
Yeah, I think what the main thing was for the maps with the capture points here for Bam Finger Guns is that I think it looks like they've practiced that Bastion strategy quite a lot, and practice and synergize the team to keep the Bastion alive and really support the main damage dealer. And we saw some incredible showings there from Apollo FPS. And even Apollo FPS did a very sneaky strategy. Again, looked very rehearsed, but sometimes rehearsed is what you need, especially if the other team is not expecting it. Apollo FPS, full credit to him. I would honestly give him the MVP, because even though it didn't fall in favor there, Apollo FPS was a fantastic. But I think my MVP in terms of winning team is Arsene.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ascent was an absolute legend. Like on the Sombra, getting consistently, like he was averaging probably about 4 people per EMP, which is actually insane. He got multiple 6-man EMPs, and it was consistently like in really good positions. Yeah, he did get caught out a couple of times here and there, but that's kind of the fine line you have to play when you're on Sombra. And when he switched over to the other heroes, we saw it in that Busan. He was on the Mei, incredibly good in that first round. When it went on back over to the Soldier to try and deal with that Pharah, incredibly serviceable again. So yeah, Arsene was like, yes, you have to give a lot of credit to the rest of the team, who was also very good as well, but Arsene was definitely the standout.
Good props to Bronze Esports, props to Bam Finger Guns, and these are the entertaining matches we like to watch. Very close contest between 2 teams. At the end of the day, Bronze Esports edges it out. And I think that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you very much for everyone who tuned in. Be sure to join the AOEsports Discord and follow the AOEsports Twitter if you want updates of when matches will be live broadcast, or if you would like to get involved. Plenty of teams have openings, and there's plenty of divisions with different skill levels. If you are a person who is interested in playing amateur competitive Overwatch, not wanting to worry about constantly winning or losing SR, feel free to join a Discord, find a team to get involved in, and for updates on streams. I believe that is us for now, unless you have any final words you'd like to say, Phoenix.
I believe that is it, but thank you for... Yeah, just thanks for having us. It's been a fun evening of games. It was a joy casting with you, and I hope we can do some more in the future.
Thank you very much, Phoenix. Likewise, and thank you very much to Raid Breaker, who has been our great broadcaster and camera spectator person. So I hope you enjoyed this fantastic Mastercraft camera work. Anyway, enough rambling from me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This has been AOE Sports, Bronze Esports versus Bam Finger Guns, with Bronze Esports out-edging and Finger Guns 3-2. This is Sandshark Phoenix and Raidbreaker signing out.